Okay. Okay, let's see what happens. I'm on here now. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Sing it with me. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yay! How y'all doing out there?
Live man. Oh,
Morning.
oh my gosh, I am so cute.
Thank you. Trying
It's
to.
kind of like that. Oh, wait a minute. It's like a mix of the 60s and the 90s and the now.
Right, something like that. Something like
Ooh,
that.
have to come on here and represent because we talking about all the talents. And so she's coming on to show us
You know?
proof.
How you doing
Oh,
this morning?
I'm good. You came on right on time. Oh, did you catch me acting goofy?
He said, what? No, I didn't.
Oh, I was singing good morning songs. Trying to come up with
Right.
a little jingle or a little something when I first get on.
Okay. That's what's up. That's that energy. We need that.
Oh, tell us about this necklace. Can you show it to the camera? Yeah, what is
Yes.
this?
So this is my sister,
Oh, it's
Disha.
beautiful.
She she moved on to the ancestral realm 3 years ago, and
She helping us from the other side.
exactly, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm doing my part on this side,
Yeah,
representing and keeping her name alive. That's, it's real important to me. I know that's what she would want, so yep.
that's why she popped out to me with that necklace. Say her name one more time because she is in this with us. We are acknowledging her presence with
Disha.
us. Okay.
Disha, Zebedisha Grooms, my biggest idol and my most authentic, um, like just influence in my life. Like she was the realest, and can't nobody argue that.
Mm,
Yeah,
okay, she is here with us.
definitely.
So
Yeah.
TT, first of all, you always glowing, always looking beautiful. I'm gonna tell you everything that I never tell you. Always glowing,
Thank
always looking
you.
beautiful. So gorgeous.
Oh, thank you. I'm just trying to be like you, sis.
A wonderful mommy, right? I had the pleasure, the honor, the privilege to come to the birthday parties
Right.
and the events, and I just love it. And now I'm looking forward to every fall, right? It's in the end of summer to
Every
fall, right?
fall, yes. Mother Earth. And I
Mm-hmm.
done gave birth in fall every time. Woo wee. So it gets hectic around that time for me, but it's a
And
beautiful
I'm looking
thing.
forward to it, yeah. And just the other day, China was like, I want to see Vital. And I was like, text her. Y'all got a relationship. You can go over there and visit her.
Yes, true, girl. It be so much going on, and it seems like the time is just moving so fast. But whenever we think about it, we just gotta connect whenever we can, because
Tell her.
I think
Because so much going on because you mommy of three, a
three.
household of five.
Yes,
And I remember you was like, I'm finally figuring out how to balance this household of five thing.
yes, yes, yes. Getting the routines together, getting all the sleep schedules together, and figuring out ways to make it so that the baby is asleep at a certain time. Like when I drop the girls off at school in the morning, I be wanting him to be asleep for a couple hours, give me a couple of alone time hours, basically, and to work on my different projects and even just to reflect and unwind a little bit. And then, it's, I think every day it's like I'm learning and evolving and getting more into this role that is being me, with everything that comes with it, so it's it's a trip sometimes, but I think it's in terms of balancing um trying to maintain like my own, you know, because I tell people all the time, children, a child, a baby is a project, you know, and it's like it's a project that you get started on and it lasts for 18 years or really for life, you know.
For life, yeah.
You know,
If you're
so
a dedicated, committed parent, it's going to be for life. It's just going to change
exactly.
more.
Exactly. But of course, in those beginning years, you know, when they small, it takes a lot of, yeah, it takes a lot of dedication. And, but I think that those projects inspire me to, you know, work on my other projects and watching them grow. It's like, oh, okay, well, I can, you know, if I can do this, you know, I could put some work into that too, you know, and watch another project grow. And the thing about it for me is my kids believe in me. My kids believe in me. And so it gives me that extra obligation to get it together and to make it and to make it happen because it's kind of like, me personally, I don't lie to, I try not to lie to my kids as much, you know, as possible. So I don't do the Santa Claus thing. I don't do that because I remember being a kid and maybe I was a drama queen, but I was emotional when I found out Santa Claus wasn't real. You know, that kind of hurt my feelings a little bit. So you lied to me. So all this time I'm thinking I'm putting out milk and cookies and ain't nobody, you know. So for me, seeing how much they believe in me and they really, they like, you know, they're excited. They're more excited, especially my older daughters. You know, they're excited for my work. You know, they want me to succeed. So if I don't, then I feel like that'll be that same kind of letdown as Santa Claus. You know, so I want them. I want to fulfill my dreams so that they can believe in their dreams. You know.
My God, girl, you just said a word. That is so true. Because I just remember also growing up, and my mother was a frustrated artist, a stunted artist, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
I remember that nothing would have made me happier than to see her fulfill her dreams. We could have lived in a shoebox as long as she was painting and she was happy, right? Because they say the mother is the spirit of the home. She's the first educator. She's the spirit of the home. That's why they say, well, happy wife, happy life. Mm-hmm. So that feminine energy really does control the space. And so I'm really happy to hear that you are acknowledging that your children are looking up to you and that their admiration for you feeds you and encourages you because my mother was so frustrated. I remember being very intentional, like I'm going to make sure that I have to make sure that I do what makes me happy so that my children won't be frustrated. Okay, Money Babe said yes.
Hey, sis. That's my sister from another mister right there. Yes, I mean, I feel like our happiness, I feel like they thrive off of our happiness, you know.
Beautiful way to put it, yeah.
You know, it's kind of like, you know, they grow in our wombs, and then once we have them, we feed from the breast, you know, and then once we done with that part, now we feeding with, like you said, with spirit, you know, and our everything that we do and everything that we feel. Like the thing is, a lot of times we might try to fake it for our kids, and we have to sometimes, you know. But what I realized is they can see through me. Like no one, like none other. Like they know when I'm happy or when I'm unhappy or when I'm, you know, and being that they have that intuitive, like, you know, that like empathy for me, you know, I try to make it easy for them to, you know, just be happy without having to like, oh, worry about how mommy's feeling, you know, so. It's like, you know, sometimes it can be harder than others, but for the most part, they do keep a smile on my face. They keep me laughing. They keep it interesting. And sometimes when I don't have an ear or I don't have somebody else to, you know, listen to my work or my poetry, like even my oldest daughter, she reminds me, you know, like you need to do that one. You need to finish that one poem, or you need remember that song? Why you ain't went to the studio and recorded that song? You know,
like, why you ain't been to the studio though?
He will tell me so fast, like, you need to do that. You need to get on it, you know? Like, it's so funny, like, but it's, you know, it works. It really works out, you know.
Well, to that end of doing what makes you happy, and balancing all of your talents, how do you do it? Because let's list them all here. If I forget any, let me know. But I have lyricist, singer, chef. Also, you make spices. Hairstylist. We know you're a mommy. Sensitive soul, beautiful heart, and you be on Instagram giving advice to the people about relationships and staying centered and valuing yourself. Did I miss anything else?
Um, I don't know. I mean, I do, you know, the visual art, like in terms of
Right.
drawing and knitting.
And you working on a book.
Yeah.
Duh.
Yes, yes. So it's a lot. I think that I don't know. I know growing up, I've just always been that person that was like really interested in learning different skills, and a lot of things came natural to me, and I just felt like I don't know. I felt like I wanted to have a lot under my belt, so I would just kind of dibble and dabble in a lot of different things. And I remember people used to tell me, you know, a jack of all trades is a master of none. And I used
Mm-hmm.
to be like, no, I'm not a jack of all trades. I'm a master of all trades. You know, that was like my little like
No,
comeback. 'Cause I'm
no.
like, I'm really good at all the things I do. But
Okay.
what I have realized is it does get, you know, it gets hard because when you establish yourself as good at things, then people around you pretty much just expect you to share those, you know, gifts and talents or whatever with you, you know, because they look at it, like I said, like a gift, you know, like it's just something that I just was granted. So you need to share the wealth. When in reality, I have, you know, put in a lot of work and practice with learning different things. And then things still take time and still, you know, it still takes effort, you know, even though it might seem effortless, you know, to people. And so, you know, I think that real young, I got caught up in doing hair just because that was what was available to me. You know, I grew up in a barbershop. My mom did hair, and you know, I just kind of dove into being a part of the family business just because I could do that. And I feel like looking back, I feel like I wish I would have focused a little bit more on my education and things like that to get more established in other areas and see what my true passions were. Because like I said, I was just the type of person that was taking any opportunity to learn a skill or to do something, you know, and you know, being young, I was like money motivated and all of that, you know. So I think that now it's like it is challenging to narrow things down, and not just narrow it down. For me, it's like I'm realizing that yeah, I feel this need to express all of um the different skills, you know, and because I feel passionate about all of them, really, you know. And so it's just a matter of putting them in order, you know, seeing what I want to tackle first, you know, and trying to tackle different things at different times instead of just, you know, being available for whatever, you know.
Yeah.
It's just, it
Hold
can
on.
be.
We have a comment from Fly Mama. Says your kids definitely are your motivation.
Yes.
Then there's JJ's Production 509. Do you know him?
No, I don't think.
Requested to be in the video. So if you don't know him, I don't know him either. We just give you a hi, brother, and keep it pushing.
Right.
Okay, so TT, how old are you?
I'm 29.
Okay, so you are still hecka young, but I also remember being 29 and feeling like, because we're similar. Like you, even our numbers are similar. You're the 25th, right? Of your birthday falls on the 25th.
Yes.
It's a 7, and mine is the 16th of my month, which is a 7.
Right.
And sevens have a really every number has its own special traits and characteristics, but I'm finding out about the sevens and that highly spiritual nature. And I'm finding that a lot of sevens that I run into also have this um, deep passion and connection to their talents and this drive to want to express it all in a lifetime.
Right.
But I want to say that, like, at 29, feeling like, oh, I'm on the cusp, I'm almost 30, you know, because I also heard a few regrets in you, like saying, like, oh, you wish you paid attention to your education more, or this and the other. And now being 40, I'll be 48 in 2 months, and I'm and I'm just like, wow, if I realized I was gonna be 48, and I mean, I always felt like I was gonna be 48, but the concept of age has changed. Since from the time I was 29 to the time I'm 48, the world's concept of age has changed. Like when I was younger, 48 was hecka old. And now people, even young people, don't view 48 as old.
Exactly.
Right. So what did they say? They said like 40 is the new 30. Who knows? By the time you 40, it might be the new 20 again.
Right.
I say that to say, I hear you. I hear you saying you wish you had focused on your education and, you know, all this different stuff. But I'm telling you, you have so much time to play with. And that little education you didn't get back there, I'm not gonna put education down. Obviously, I was an educator for, 20 years, a teacher. I'm not gonna put it down, but what I see in you is beyond anything you could have gotten in the classroom. Like, if anything, whatever you would do with education would just be to get a certification to be, have access to a certain job, I guess. But I don't see you as a job person, right? You said you're a master of all things. I
Right.
see you're continuing to create this space around you that only you can feel and fulfill and manifest in this world. And we're just waiting for more of that. So
Yes, I really do appreciate the words. I definitely don't feel like I agree. I feel like it's plenty of time. And man, I'm still tripping off of 48. I thought you was just gonna say 40, and and really only that. I mean, that gives me that, like, even more so hope, like looking like, dang, it really is about how you carry yourself and how you take care of yourself, and how you just use your time, use the time that you have, and all the abilities, that you have. Like, you still are able, if you are able body, like, go out and get it, go out and get whatever it is that you feel like you want to get. And I feel like, I don't know. Like, I think I agree with that because I'm definitely not the job type of person. I'm definitely trying to, I want to create. That's like my biggest thing. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, it's just figuring out that order of which, how I can put myself in a position where I can do all of the things that I want to do, and put it all out there, and I think that there's definitely power in collaborating with peers. I'm so glad that you're doing this, and not just with me, but with other people I'm seeing every week. Like, okay, it's motivation because it's about creating a community, and creating um, the network around you, so we can build each other up, and that's really what it's all about. I'm real focused on that and connecting with good people, like how you said, talking about staying warm hearted in a cold world. I think that one of the things that helps me to keep my warm heart is to remember that, yeah, it might seem like it's a cold world, but obviously it's not that cold because I'm of this world too, and I ain't no different. then, it's a lot of folks out there just like me. And I feel like it's so good to be able to connect with people in so many different ways and take advantage of that and seek the type of tribe, that you may not have been born into, but it's out there. Like I said, I'm of this world too, so I know it's other warm-hearted people out there. I never lose faith in that or hope in that, because I know myself. I love myself enough to see, to look within and not let all the defense mechanisms and everything make me lose a sense of who I truly am. So it's I think that, yeah, getting that support from people such as yourself, and not even just the support, but just like, oh, we right here, like being able to relate
Yeah.
on all those different levels. Like, it just motivates me to keep going and know that the best is yet to come. Like,
I love how you said that. It might be a cold world, but it's also a warm world because I'm of this world and I'm warm. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing that even I have to remember. I'm gonna take that with me. Like, whenever I start getting down about what I'm seeing and experiencing, I have to remember. Wait a minute, you're of this too.
right. I'm of this same world. I come from it, and I have a love for it regardless of all of the negative things, because that's what gives us that, it gives us something to compare things to, and it gives us that appreciation of good people, and I always say, like, I'm not an exception, but I am of a certain caliber, and so, it's just finding others of my same, if that's, I don't even want to say of a certain caliber, but I want to say, like, just we just a certain kind, and I'm not down to nobody else. Everybody got their reasons and reasons for being however they are, and they all serve a purpose. But
Yeah.
I seek to be around more that, like I said, I can just relate to, and I know it's out there, so.
Serenity. Isn't that mom-in-law? Is that Serenity? Is that?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
She
Hey,
said,
now.
things you love and enjoy are so important. It's so important to do the things you love and enjoy. I wonder if I know JJ's Production 509, because he just asked, are you a teacher?
Right.
And so I'm like, do I know you? I just don't know the name, and I can't see your little face. So type some more and let me know how we know each other. And at some point, I can let you jump on if we actually know each other. You see, that's though, like-minded people.
Yes, that's what it's all about. I ain't got time for arguing or debating with people about simple things that I feel are simple. It's like, I gotta go back and forth with you about what's courteous and what's considerate and what's appropriate and all of that, then it just ain't worth it. I love you. I tell people all the time, you can love somebody from a distance, but hate and like ill will, it requires access. It requires proximity, to actually come through. You can't wish bad on me from miles away. It ain't gonna get through. It ain't gonna get through for me, and I know that. And so, but at the same time, love can get through. I don't care if I'm thousands of miles away. If I love you and I'm praying for you and I'm wishing the best for you, it's gonna reach. And I know that as well, So if I love somebody, but feel like they don't have the same type of feelings, or even if it's questionable, keep them at a distance, because I know I can love you from a distance, And if you really love me, you can love me from a distance too, But I'm not gonna allow anything in my space or allow you the access to bring down my vibrations and change the way I feel.
Arguing is so early 2000s. Like, we're not about that life. We have transcended.
Literally, like, oh my goodness. Ain't nobody
Who has time for arguing?
for real.
Yeah, but it is a trip, though, when you get to a certain stage of understanding for yourself, your boundaries, what you will and will not accept, and understanding who you are. Like you said, you know that you're of this world, and therefore you know that this is also a warm world. So when you get to that point of understanding about yourself, arguing does become like, you're like, what was I ever arguing about in the first place? Ever? Why did I ever argue with anybody?
Exactly. And really, it's not even to like look down on nobody, but it's just to say, like, I respect your state of mind or your way of looking at things, your perception, just the same way I want you to respect mine, you know? If
Right.
you feel like the sky is green, by all means, you know? Shoot, you can feel however you want to feel. I'm not here to try to tell nobody else how to live, you know?
Right. Exactly.
You know, how to treat people. You know, even if I'm one of those people and they not treating me right, I can just distance myself, you know?
Okay, we got some comments here. We got
Yes.
that say yes, protecting your peace at all costs.
At
And then
all costs, at all times.
can you see
Every
serenity?
yes, every person is not meant to connect. Some people are meant to stay, and some are meant not to. They have done their part in your in their journey in life. So,
Yes.
and that's what it is. Like, I think that every person, like I tell people, I was telling my friend the other day, like she's having an issue with a family member and she's like, I'm ready to just cut her off. And I told her, you know, I think that's the right thing to do, definitely. But before you do that, use her, practice on her. You know what I'm saying? Use her to find out or to, like I said, practice on holding your boundary. You know what I'm saying? Like, use her to find your voice. You know, see if you can stand up and speak your piece a little bit without letting her take you to another place. You know, make sure that you're not cutting her off and then walking right into another situation where you're going to be treated the same way and where you're going to get hurt before you have to cut somebody off again. You know, learn how to cut it off, nip it in the bud, you know? And yeah, we can't a lot of times we get met with the same situations or the same kind of people because we didn't actually learn a lesson. We ran. You know, it's one thing to cut somebody off, it's another thing to run away from the conflict, you know? So I definitely think there's a difference, and I definitely think that it's more to a lesson than just getting hurt. You know, it's about learning how to shield yourself from that pain in the first place, you know? I don't keep going through the same old things and keep having to learn the same old lessons, you know? So it's definitely a journey.
Advice. Yeah, that's wonderful advice. You said practice. Before you cut this person off, practice a new skill. Even if we have to learn maybe what's in store for us is 10 skills before we get to the next level of whatever this journey is, practice at least one. Practice speaking up. Next time, practice a boundary. Next time, practice this. Yeah, so that you don't keep repeating it. Exactly. And like you said, it's a fine line between running away from something and actually cutting it off because it's safe and it's safer for you. You need that protection. Yeah. And learning to love people from a distance, I really have had to practice that in the last, I want to say 5 years. That's something that I've had to learn to really practice. Learning to love people from a distance who are extremely harmful, but they're family, and I have a certain affection for them. But I'm like, I cannot let you destroy my life like this.
And you know, then on the other end, it's like, not only can I not let you destroy my life, but I can't be a part of enabling you in the behaviors that you're displaying, you know, because like I done told my family members, you know, we were put together for a reason, not to treat each other any old kind of way because we know that we can't cut each other off because we family. No, we was put together to practice on each other for the world. So if you treat me a certain way, you talk to me crazy or whatever the case is, and I don't check you or I don't let you know that that's out of pocket, then you mess around and go out in the world and speak that same way to somebody else, and you mess around and get a rude awakening because everybody don't care about you or you know, have that regard for you the way I do, you know. But and I think that that's a part of love as well, having that, you know, tough love enough to say, like, hold on, wait, like, I know we family or whatever, and you feel like that's a joke or whatever, but everybody don't feel like that. You know, you need to really check the temperature before you just dive in, you know, on some, you know, on some respect or whatever the case is, you know. And I think that distancing myself from certain people, you know, it gives them that constant reminder, like when I'm not around and I'm not, you know, I'm not there, it gives them that reminder, like that they got to be respectful when you go out in the world, you know, like you can't just treat people any old kind of way and think you entitled to, you know, people love to say, well, I'm entitled to my opinion and it's the truth. Yeah, it might be true, but is it necessary to say, you know? You know, so it's just it's a lot of
That's a tricky one, and I find that comes. I actually find that that's a certain level of maturity when or immaturity when people say that. When you're at a certain level of maturity, you feel like what I said is the truth, and I have a right to say it, and I have a right to say the truth, and I don't care who it hurts. But as you grow, then you start to realize, well, I mean, your truth is not everybody's truth, number one. What you see, you don't necessarily have to say everything that you see, number two, right? And as wise people will tell you, those who know don't say. Those who say don't know. And then as we grow, we start to really examine intention. Okay, so that's the truth, and you know, but what was my intention behind that? What was I really trying to accomplish behind? Was I trying to sting that person and hurt them because I feel hurt? And if so, let's deal with that.
exactly.
Let's deal with the real pain in the issue.
Exactly. When people go out of their way to hurt people, all I can do is say, dang, I don't know what they're going through, but I'm going to pray for you. Because it's something internal. It all comes from within. You know, you can't, you know, anytime you point a finger, you pointing three back at yourself. You know, everybody know that. And, you know, a lot of times it's like we point out the things that relate to us, you know, more than anything. You know, a lot of times I think that that's like it's like intuitively we know what our problems are, but in our mind, you know, in our conscious mind, we might not want to admit those things to ourselves, you know. And so the way that our subconscious mind kind of tries to remind us or tries to like alert us of what our problems are is by making those things particularly irritating to us in other people, you know. It's like, oh, I remember having an issue with a family member and feeling like, oh, she does everything is about other people and how it looks to other people, and you know, everything is for an image. It feels like nothing is genuine. And I had to ask myself, like, do I have some of that? You know, do I do a lot? And I realized that I had been living my life in that way. And it's not that I was being negative, like I was, you know, being like a mean person behind closed doors and just acting like everything was all good for an image. But I did have this sense of feeling a feeling of responsibility for everybody around me, feeling like I had to play this like role model kind of role, you know, and I have to make it look good because I want to represent Black women well, or I want to represent Black love well. So I don't, you know, I don't want to, you know, I was really motivated to make certain things work, just all in the name of trying to give other people hope, you know? And so it comes in different forms, you know, it's a lot of the same traits that we might see in somebody else and it might irritate us. We might have those same traits, but we're using them in different ways, but it's still the same traits. So it's still it's still not the truth, you know, or it's still not authentic if it's coming from a more selfish or a more even selfless place, you know, because sometimes, you know, people will talk about selfish people all the time, but sometimes being selfless can be just as harmful as being selfish, you know?
Yes. Now that's a whole nother segment. We need to reconnect on that subject.
For real.
Because even with my oldest daughter, when she was really up until a few years ago, she had a habit of, doing things that she thought was nice, agreeing to things because she thought it was nice. And to be fair, a lot of women are trained that way in general, but it was just more glaring for me, her presentation of it. And I remember telling her, like, you think you're being nice by doing that, but you're actually being mean because nobody knows who you are. Nobody knows what your boundary is. You're not being authentic.
Mm-hmm.
So don't do it just because you can do it. Don't do something for somebody just because you can. Do it because you want to.
Exactly.
Don't allow people to treat you X, Y, and Z to not hurt their feelings, or go along with them to not hurt their feelings, and you having a miserable time. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly. So that's a very good point, and I was happy that I picked up on that. But like you said, what I saw in her, I had to do a self-check and look at the ways I was actually doing that too, because our children are looking at us.
Exactly.
Permission. So I somehow gave permission that behavior was okay. So I had to examine, okay, where am I showing this and demonstrating this? In what ways? Yeah.
Exactly. And that's another point too, how much our children really they show us ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, give us a real reflection without it, without it kind of like getting to our ego. It's really outside of ourselves. But yes, just always kind of, whenever I have an issue with my kids, I always try to draw back into myself and see like, what is it? Is this something I'm influencing, or what can I do to kind of get this under control? I feel like I feel responsible for my kids, and like how we were saying, like, we know that the world is pretty cold, and we brought them into a cold world, so when I think about all of the different things that they have to face, I try to be easy on them, and I try to figure out, what I can do to help them along instead of just criticizing and, yeah, so.
Oh my gosh, we got so much to talk about. Okay, now let's get to the art. Okay, so how we met, because how we met is related to then how we actually started working together, staying connected, which led us then to this moment.
Right.
So, you want to talk about how we met?
Yes. So, and it's a beautiful story too, because it's all about finding your tribe, right? So, in the beginning, we hadn't officially met, but it was like I was pregnant with my oldest daughter, and I was kind of like staying with, my best friend at the time. And your daughters were going to her mother's school, which was a home, was at her house, set up at her house. And so I would see Sandala, and it was like, we just kind of would see each other in passing, maybe, but
Sandala would come home and she would talk, because you and your best friend, y'all was the older kids,
exactly, yeah.
She really,
so I'm like 19,
felt the connection to y'all.
Right, exactly, or 18.
Like, and TT did, and I was like, who is TT?
Right.
And then she's like, that's her friend, and she's saying, and she's pregnant, and she's sitting. And I'll be like, oh,
okay. Right. So, that time passed. I done moved out of state and been, came back, and my friend's mother, who had the school, she actually is a performer and artist as well. So she had a show, and I heard about it. So I'm like, oh, let me go and support, And at this time, I was pregnant again with my second daughter. And we came, and mind you, at this time, I was very much into, I was just a rapper, which I love rap music. I think that music is my first love. So I was really, I was kind of like lightly pursuing a rap career and all of that. And I've always been very vocal about just being a rapper. and I wasn't into poetry. Like people would always compare my raps to poetry. They, oh, that sounds like poetry, and I'm like, no, I'm on beat. I'm on. I have this like,
On beat.
I kind of look down on the art form of poetry because I think the way I learned about it in school, it just didn't capture me, you know. And so, and then you know how they would have like the poetry slams, and some of them will be so dramatic, and you know, roses are red, violets are blue. You know, like I just was like, I'm not into that. You know? And so I come to the show to see Awana, but you opened up for her, and I think you I think you opened up with the poem. Or no, I think you might have opened up with the song. Either way it go.
I did 2 songs and a poem, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So you did the poem, You Bring Out the Oakland in Me.
Mhm.
And I just remember thinking like, oh, that's kind of cool. I like that. You know, like it was just like it just opened my mind to the art form. You know, I was just like, oh, that's dope. Like I never heard nobody do poetry and sound real, you know, sound like you and me and not be trying to be extra deep, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you know, having depth, you know, but just on a level that I could vibe with, you know. And so, and then your songs too, I was feeling the songs and everything, you know. So I ended up following you on Instagram when I saw, I think a one
Right.
like posted, you know. So I was like, oh, let me follow her. I kind of like her, you know,
Oh,
like her style, you know. And from there, I started looking into poetry, and that's when I started finding out about Langston Hughes and Lucille Burden and all of these, you know, these
wow.
poets that I had never heard of, and not realizing that this was like, I mean, it spoke to me so much. Like I've just kind of delved, you know, so deep into it. And so yeah, over the years we just kind of was following, you know, you follow me back, and we kind of just would interact here and there, you know, just on some, oh, we know mutual people type of stuff. And but we could kind of see that we just had a lot in common. And so it's a beautiful thing to be able to connect in those ways these days, you know what I'm saying, to be able to find like-minded people. And literally it was kind of like over a couple of years that we was, you know, just kind of observing each other from a distance before we
Yeah.
actually started. I'm trying to think of
I think because during the pandemic, I did the workshop, and then you came
exactly.
to the writing workshop.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like really interested in that. I had been trying to, you know, thinking about writing a book and feeling like that was the way that I wanted to start my journey. That was my first project that I really wanted to pursue, but felt a little lost about it. And, you know, so then it's like you popped up with this, oh, I have a course, a writing course, write your book. And I'm like, yes, that's what I need. So it was like perfect. It just kind of came together, you know, and we got to rapping, and that's how it happened, you know. We've been
Yes,
like tight ever since, you know.
I remember when you came to Awana's event, and from a distance, I saw you and your partner at the time, and I mean, you had the beautiful halo afro, and you had the look that I was like, that's a whole new look. Look at this retro 70s.
Yes, that was man. And the thing I forgot to mention too is when we did connect again during the pandemic, I was pregnant again, you know? And so it was like, dang, at these every stage, every, you know, pregnant stage in my life, we have kind of crossed
Oh,
paths.
that's right. Oh,
Yes,
that's crazy. Because the first time when my daughter was talking about you, you were pregnant.
I was pregnant.
And then the second time, by the time of that event, you were pregnant.
Mm-hmm. And
Wow.
when we did the writing workshop, I was pregnant again. When I called you
Yes.
about doing the course, you know, I'm like juggling so many things. I got my daughters, and then I'm actually pregnant too right now, you know. So, and it was like, wait a minute, I've been pregnant every time that we have like interacted, you know.
Yeah.
So it's
Every time we have a direct connection. Yeah.
yeah. And so I think that it was like alignment, you know, because you know, it's no more creative time than that. You know, being pregnant, I'm literally creating life at the time, you know, and I think that yeah, having that eagerness to spread out and, like I said, build a tribe and support system around myself that's built on like minds, and it just kept coming. It came together like that,
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the book that you're working on?
So
Or is it
yes,
just time?
I'm working
Okay.
on my poetry book. Well, it's a collection of poetry, some short stories, a couple of essays,
Mm-hmm.
and it's called In More Ways Than One. Um, just reflections of myself, getting to know myself, and you know, I I tell my loved ones, like, I'm really not writing this book for I'm writing this book for myself, really, and for anybody who may have experienced or maybe, going through the certain things that I have been through, or I'm going through, but it's just a documentation of all my perceptions and what they have meant to me, and
Mm-hmm.
how I intend to use them, going forward, and it's for my daughters too. I feel like it's important for me to leave that imprint, and it's my baby. I'm real excited about it. Yep,
I
I'm.
love that you said you're writing it for yourself first, because we get taught that we're supposed to think about, well, who's our audience? But it's okay for us to be our audience
Exactly.
because there's at
That's
least
what that
10,000 other people like us.
exactly. And see, like I said, I kind of always had this persona of being that, like, I'm still that way a lot, like with my friends and stuff. I'm that one that everybody can call and get advice, or lend an ear to, and all of that kind of stuff. But I feel like I don't really want that to be like basically, like I was saying earlier, I don't feel like I'm no better than anybody else. I think that I sit down and think about stuff a lot, and I remember everything and all of that, and so it's just like I'm writing this, speaking to myself. I'm not trying to tell nobody how to live their life. I'm just telling you, I'm not saying this is the right way. I'm not saying it's the only way. I'm just saying this is what works for me. It's working for me. Maybe it might work for you, or this is how these certain things made me feel. And, you know, um, it's just like, I try not to say, oh, you need to do this, or I try to, like, in my book, like, I'm speaking, from my perspective, like, I need to do this, and I'm realizing that,
Mm-hmm.
I need to, know my worth and all of that, because I feel like we get caught up in idolizing other people so much, and I don't really want people to idolize me. I just want to offer, the information from what I have gathered, and you don't have to agree with everything in the book, but it's just giving you some insight on another perception, so.
And one of the beautiful things that you've done, you took the step to get professional help with your book through my coaching program. And I think that that's really important to actually tap into here, because I've read quite a few self-published books that had a lot of errors in them. Because a lot of times, sometimes people think, I just having a book is enough. So I get this book done, and then I'm a writer. And I've done 3 books, and all 3 of them have gross errors in them, including content errors, in the sense of they might be hard to follow, or I'm reading it and I'm like, I'm following it because I have a vested interest in this person, because maybe I know this person. This is something I've been curious about. But I know that if I didn't know this person, I would not be following this, because it's all over the place. And I say that to say, even growing up, there's a lot of, so growing up, I would read a lot of self-published books that were really, really good, but they might have a few mistakes in them, or maybe the type the font that they chose could show that it was self-published as opposed to, published with a publishing company. And I knew that I wanted something that you couldn't tell it was self-published from reading it and looking at it. And then, so that was very important to me. And then now, I feel like the whole self-publishing thing has advanced. So you can find access to resources where you can create a product that on the surface may look professional, but as you're reading it, if you don't have someone to proofread it or to edit it, then it becomes clear that this is an amateur writer. And I don't say that as a bad thing. We all start off as an amateur at something, but the idea is that when you're publishing something, you don't want you want to publish as a professional, not as an amateur. And there's a way to elevate yourself to publish a professional product, even if it's your first product, even if you've just started writing. And that is through getting professional coaching, professional help, so that you know what direction to go in.
Exactly.
And so I'm
like
really
you
proud of
said,
you.
the proofreading, I feel like as much as, yes, I'm writing this book like for myself and from my perspective, I do want it to be able to transcend and I want people to understand it, so I feel like and I know that a lot of times I might write something and then I'll literally read over it a few times, but being that I'm the one who wrote it, I have the original thought of the sentence in my mind, so I just kind of skim. I'll try really hard to look at every single word, but I just know what it's supposed to say. So I might, it's just things that you're naturally going to overlook, especially with how much work goes into writing, just coming up, with the creative process.
Yeah.
You need a second pair of eyes and you need, professional help, somebody who's done this before and knows the ropes. And, there's always, with every...
Someone who challenges you, too, on what they're reading.
Exactly. Yeah, it really matters, like, to have that, that foundation to stand on and not just feel like you just throwing something out there, So.
Yeah. So, so I look forward to, as you continue to write and as you get ready for that stage and the next stage and the next stage, I look forward to watching you go through all of those stages and at whatever point that I'm coaching you, helping you through those stages as well. But there will be some things that you'll do independently, and I'm looking forward to just seeing you grow as a writer and getting this book out. And then you were showing us on your stories, your Instagram stories, you were drawing some sketches. You said you wanted to include it.
So, I've decided to include a couple of like illustrations. I have a couple poems that might be kind of short, but they have like a visual to it as well. So I'm like, I'm gonna actually just incorporate all of that, and I feel really excited about that part too, because I've never actually done anything with my drawing abilities, So, like, I want to, throw that in there too, because that's a part of who I am as well. I feel like that's like one of my forgotten talents all the time. Like, I don't get into it as much, Sometimes I do it. My kids will have little drawing challenges or whatever, but I was like, let me sit down and really work on something like I used to do, So it's exciting. I want it to be something that everybody can kind of just pick up whenever they feel like just going into another world for a second, and yeah.
Okay, I'll put you on the spot. What's it rhyme for us?
Oh my goodness. What's the topic? Wait.
You want my beatbox or not?
Because I could do it all. Now let me stop.
Anything. You could sing, you could freestyle, you could do whatever you want.
Okay. This is what's on my mind. I It's something I kind of started thinking of. I'm gonna just go. Okay, so they say it's never too late. I say it's never too early. I'm in a whole last hurry. Can't let nothing deter me. I know I'm worthy and deserving. Plus, I got what it takes. If it don't serve me, gotta get that shit up off of my plate. I'm making room for the things that's beneficial, and money's not the issue. Fulfilling my purpose been weighing heavy on my mental. That's why I'm hella focused on my vision, carefully setting intentions on a mission to fulfillment. The millions gonna come with it. That's a given. But other forms of currency been sparking my interest. I want my own water springs. Some land to grow my own groceries. I'm steady buying clothes. I need to buy me a sewing machine. I don't know. That's it.
Self-empowerment. Get with it or get lost.
Yeah, for real. Yes.
Oh, thank you for blessing us.
Thank you, sis.
What about any songs? Anything you want to sing? Anything you want to sing?
Anything I want to sing. Oh, I still got my Christmas tree up. I'm still in the Christmas spirit, okay?
I'm singing a Christmas song.
I'm going to sing y'all a Christmas song. I'm going to sing just the end or just my favorite part of the song. I think it is the end. How I go? Little baby, pum-pum-pum-pum. I am a poor boy too, pum-pum-pum-pum. I have no gift to bring, pum-pum-pum-pum. That's fit to give a king, pum-pum-pum-pum, pum-pum-pum-pum, pum-pum-pum-pum. Shall I play for you, pum-pum-pum-pum, on my drum? Mary nodded, pum-pum-pum-pum. The ox and lamb kept time, pum-pum-pum-pum. I played my drum for him, pum-pum-pum-pum. I played my best for him, pum-pum-pum-pum, pum-pum-pum-pum. Then he smiled at me, pum-pum-pum-pum. Me and my drum. I love that song. I sing that song to my kids every year for Christmas, and we sit around and talk about that song because I love how they pointed out. I'm not super religious. I'm not big on that, but I do love and believe in the story of Jesus Christ, and I think that I love how it pointed out I'm a poor boy too. The humble beginnings. And as well. Everybody's bringing their finest gifts, and it's saying, I have no gift to bring, but shall I play for you? And that is the gift. The inner gifts are really the most valuable. At the end, it say, then he smiled at me. That baby smiled at hearing that drum playing. Okay, all the fine, all the gold and silver or whatever. That baby ain't worried about that.
Wow.
It's that hearing that drum, play that drum. That inner glow that we all have. I think that it's real important to remember that. That's the best gift you can give, to the world, and I think that that's what it's all about, not just Christmas, but just, life.
And when you smile like that and laugh like that, you look dead on your daughters. The oldest one. Oh, TT, on that note, you have blessed us enormously, over-blessed us. We are overwhelmed with the blessings.
Man, I feel the same way. See, the energy is always live and so authentic and just, I feel like we always leave each other better off than we found each other, even if it's, even not saying we came in on a bad note, but man, I just feel lighter. I feel it's really good to be in your presence, even online. Yeah.
And I'm gonna get a podcast up, and you got to come on to the podcast.
Oh yes, definitely.
And then we go really rap and sing.
Yes, all of that. I'm ready for it. I'm here for it. Love you so much. Love and light.
Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day.
You too. I'm planning on it.
Uh-oh, I can't hear you. I think you said.
It says,
Oh, okay, bye.
all right.